kinds of information about how to keep your home safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. You've probably heard ads on the radio talking about fogging buildings or different information about disinfecting your home that you've probably read from your friends sharing on Facebook, or you may have heard things from news stations, and some of it sounds like it conflicts. So, we're here today to try to clear the air a bit, and I'm going to be sitting here talking with Bruce Vance, owner of Town and Country Cleaning Services in Pittsboro, North Carolina, who is a nationally known instructor on house cleaning, who has been internationally referred to by different panels discussing disinfectant use and cleaning and how to keep your home safe. So, we're going to talk today about how you can keep your home safe and how you can kind of clear the air of some of the noise that you might be hearing. So, Bruce, let's start right at the beginning and start to set some terms here. So, we're talking about cleaning and disinfecting. What's the difference between those two ideas?
Well, basically, cleaning is removing soil and in the process, removing bacteria and viruses and other unwanted matter from a surface. And cleaning normally is enough to keep us sanitary. Now, we're not in normal circumstances right now. So there's an increased interest in disinfection. Disinfectants are basically biocides. These things are actually regulated by the EPA as pesticides, which is something a lot of people don't realize. And they are designed to kill bacteria or inactivate viruses. Since viruses aren't alive, we refer to it as inactivating rather than killing. This allows us, once it has been cleaned, and it's critical to understand that, first of all, you have to clean. If you go on the CDC site, that's a Center for Disease Control, you're going to see clean first, then disinfect. Clean first, disinfect. And that's a step that a lot of people forget.
Interesting. So let's go back there just a second. You said that disinfectants are regulated as pesticides. I'm sure most people haven't thought about that. How do you get there?
Well, if you go to EPA and their site and they take anything which is a biocide, which means kill life, and they consider that to be a pesticide. In fact, in some states, in order to commercially apply a disinfectant, you have to have a pesticide license.
Ooh, that's interesting, and I think that I know I didn't realize that for a long time. So okay, so we're getting to the point that disinfectants are important. How should I use them? Should I use them in my home? And if so, how?
Okay, first of all, on the how, we talked about clean first. Read the label on the disinfectant. It's very important to understand what disinfectant you're dealing with. Not all disinfectants are the same. Not all disinfectants will eliminate the same germs. There's a whole hierarchy of difficultness to kill or inactivate different germs. The other thing to remember is once you apply the disinfectant, it has to stay on the surface for a prescribed amount of time to be effective. If you're not allowing it to have proper, what we call dwell time, you're not disinfecting, and there is some evidence out there that we may actually be creating superbugs because of our improper use of disinfectants.
So as you talk about that, does that apply to like my grocery store shelf can of Lysol, or are we talking about more commercial grade things as we talk about that?
All of them. And it's you need to also look, as you're looking at your disinfectant, is it food safe? So some disinfectants can be used on a kitchen counter, allowed to dwell and air dry. But most disinfectants, you're going to have to go back at the end and rinse it very thoroughly with potable water because you're putting down a toxic substance.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, I hear some ads where people say, our disinfectant is non-toxic. Something that kills life is toxic. Sorry, EPA does not allow a green certification on disinfectants because they kill life. Some are safer than others, but still.
Exactly. They're just doing what they're designed to do. So, okay, I'm a homeowner and I'm wanting to make sure that my home stays safe during this pandemic. And so I've decided that I'm going to disinfect my home. Where and how should I do that?
Okay, the most important things, and this is going to depend a little bit on the traffic in your home.
My house is very trafficked.
Yes, in your case in particular. But if you're, say, a older couple who is quarantining effectively at home, you're being very careful about people coming into the home. The main thing you have to look for is the entry area. So if you come in and you touch the handle and both sides of the entry door, and you put down your uh, package and you go wash your hands, the main thing there you need to disinfect would be the door handles, the faucets on the sink, and wherever you put down your package. And that would be still an abundance of caution for most cases. Uh, these are what we call high touch points. If you're in a house with lots of active kids going back and forth and people coming, you want to look at all your touch points. These are going to include things like your, obviously your door handles, the banister, toilet flush handles, handles on the sink where people are using dirty hands are touching, kitchen sink, possibly your counters. But you want to be careful that if you're going to wipe down your counters and your breakfast table and such, that you're either using a disinfectant approved for food surfaces or that you're doing proper rinsing afterwards.
Okay, and that's actually very interesting. Um, I don't think that even crosses most people's mind. Now, as I referenced at the beginning of this, one of the things that I've noticed driving around has been that I've heard a lot of ads talking about coming into either your home or your business and either fogging or misting some form of disinfectant. Um, what is that? How does that work? Does it work? Should we do it? Or I mean, where does that where does that fall into place for the average person listening to this?
Alrighty. The idea of fogging comes from fire restoration, where they would fog a deodorizer to go everywhere the smoke would. It gets micro droplets that go out into every inch and cranny. Whether or not we need that for disinfecting a home, I think is highly questionable. We don't really care about disinfecting the ceiling. There's not going to be a problem there. We don't need to worry about disinfecting walls or any such things there. The other thing is, remember we said that disinfectants really are considered pesticides. So if we change the wording from saying we're going to disinfect your whole home to we're going to make you healthy by spraying pesticide all over your home, you might have a different feeling about what it means. If you are going to have it done, make sure that you understand what pesticide they are going to use. I mean, disinfectant they are going to use, because they're, as we said earlier, they're not all the same. Are they going to clean first? Remember, we said that if you're going to use these disinfectants, you need to clean first, because if there's any real soil on the surface, that inactivates the disinfectant and you're not disinfecting. And then at the end, is this a food safe disinfectant, or are you going to have to go back and rinse down with potable water any surface that might have been contaminated by this at the end? How do you find out? You may feel that they're give you a straight answer. You can ask to see the SDS sheet. Any client has the right to see the SDS sheet of any chemical used in their home. So these are some things to think about with the fogging. I personally am not a big fan of it. Something else you're seeing out there is the use of electrostatic sprayers, which put a mist, which has a charge that then wraps around things. This is very effective in where you have complex surfaces you want to disinfect. It also allows for a much more targeted use of your disinfectant than a fogger does. So that may be a useful tool, especially if they're using a very safe disinfectant, as safe as disinfectants are. As I say, whenever we're dealing with something, it's very hard to say something's non-toxic if it kills things. So that's basically the thoughts on that.
Okay, so as I listen to this, I'm assuming that this is probably not something that the average homeowner needs to think about, or business owner. Um, so any other parting thoughts about how we can make sure that our home stays safe, make sure that our businesses stay safe? Yeah, talk to us and just send us off with some good thoughts.
Basically, I think we can overuse disinfectants. Make sure if we're using them, we're using them properly. If you're using wipes, if you can find wipes now, and that's very difficult, uh, as you're using them on door handles, one wipe, one side. By the time you get to the third door handle, if you're using the same side of the wipe, you're probably adding, not taking away germs. Basically, think out what your risks in your home are. Where are the people touching? Where is something likely to come into your home? And then clean and disinfect that. Good cleaning is 90% of disinfecting. The other 10% is the use of a disinfectant. As long as you're following label directions, and always read the labels. I realize that some of these labels almost require a magnifying glass to read, but it's critical that you read and understand the labels on any disinfectant that you're going to use. Good cleaning and some measured use of disinfectant can help keep the house safe in these troubled times.
All right, and so those are going to be just some pointers and some helpful thoughts that will help you keep your home, your family, or your business safe. Look forward for more content coming soon. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel or our Facebook, and we will continue to post new information as we get it. Lots of research is being done right now, so some things may change. And as they change, we will keep up with them. So thank you for listening, and we hope you'll tune in again.